Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me in welcoming our webcast viewers. My name is Fred Mifflin, President of the Canadian Club of Toronto. Viewers, we're very pleased that you're joining us today. Every year, the Canadian Club prides itself on providing a forum for leaders in every aspect of society to share their ideas with us and to challenge our thinking. Through our programs and activities, we offer access to dynamic public, business and political figures from across Canada and around the world. Today's speaker, Fred Gibbons from Colleges Ontario and Northern College, is a great example. Before I formally introduce Fred, here's a preview of some of our upcoming events. Next Tuesday, April the 11th, Canadian Club Vice President Bruce Sellery will moderate a dynamic panel of industry experts on disruption in the financial services industry. And the following week, on Tuesday, April the 18th, will feature another thought-provoking panel on social innovation in the age of disruption. Panelists will discuss new approaches to addressing Canada's major social issues. To order your tickets or to learn more about the club, please visit our website at canadianclub.org. You can also join the conversation via Twitter and Instagram by following us at CDNCLUBTO or by using that hashtag. I want to recognize today's event sponsors, Colleges Ontario, represented by Linda Franklin, and Skills Ontario, represented by Gail Smith. Thank you very much for your generous support. And now our guest speaker. Ontario colleges are celebrating a milestone, 50 years of educating and training adult learners. A lot has changed since 1967. The province's 24 colleges are grappling with change and economic disruption at an unprecedented rate. Leading that change is Fred Gibbons, chair of the advocacy organization. 2 years ago, Colleges Ontario created its first ever strategic plan. It focused on 5 priorities, which include developing a new generation of leaders and innovators, investing in learning and teaching excellence, and increasing access and student success, all key objectives which today's marketplace is demanding. Fred is ideally suited to navigate the transformation that Ontario colleges are facing. He's in his second term as president of Northern College, a role he's held since 2009. He's also held several senior positions within the college, including Registrar and Executive Director of Staff Development and Human Resources. He's keenly aware of the desire for state-of-the-art learning spaces and resources for adult learners. In this regard, he's led the expansion of the college's campuses in Timmins, Kirkland Lake, Moosonee, and Haileybury. The Colleges Ontario chair also believes that local is global. He helped create a polytechnic partnership in Mumbai, India. As well, he's heavily involved in several joint ventures with colleges and universities in China. He also chairs the Timmins Economic Development Corporation, is a past president of the Timmins Chamber of Commerce, and a past director of the Timmins and District Hospital. On a personal note, it's great for me to introduce another Fred. And I'm hoping that you'll use this opportunity to redeem our often maligned name. As I mentioned at the outset, if you have any questions, please write them down on the Q&A cards at your tables, and one of our staff will collect them, and Fred will be happy to take questions at the end of his formal remarks. So on that note, Fred, a very warm welcome. The Canadian Club of Toronto's podium is yours.
Thank you, Fred. Not a particularly difficult name to remember. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. and welcome to this midweek event that Colleges Ontario is celebrating in collaboration, or in celebration rather, of Colleges Week. I'm pleased to be joined by many college colleagues today for this important view of higher education, and in particular, what can only be described as an inspiring and continuing evolution of college education in Ontario. As many of you know, this is College Week in Ontario. Throughout the country, colleges, institutes are running local events to help celebrate Canada's 150th anniversary as well. And colleges are committed to the communities, not only in the province of Ontario, but throughout the college system, throughout the provinces in Canada as well. These events range from community cleanup days, volunteering at Ronald McDonald House, and working with Kindness Canada to promote random acts of kindness. Throughout this week, we're celebrating the deep connections, the deep roots we have within our communities. At my own college in Northern Ontario, we're organizing food drives for the Salvation Army, hiring an archivist to catalog the the memorabilia that we've amassed over 50 years, and also formally kicking off our celebration with a golden, groovy 60s dance party. Now, I know many of you want to be there. There's no shame in having fun and working hard. College Week is particularly special in this province because Ontario is celebrating another huge milestone. As Fred indicated, 2017 marks the 50th anniversary of college education in Ontario. We call our 50th anniversary celebration the start of something amazing, and I think that's most aptly describing what the colleges have achieved in the first 50 years. For students, it's the start of a path towards future success. For graduates, it provides the opportunity to start a rewarding career. For the province, the first 50 years of college education has seen the start of a profound transformation in the range of post-secondary opportunities available to students. We have a number of tremendous events and activities lined up for our 50th anniversary celebrations, everything from a speaker series at our colleges that resemble TED Talks to a province-wide campus tour that will take place a little later this fall. We've also launched a new online contest, the William G. Innovation Fund, that encourages college students and alumni to put creative projects forward and compete for cash prizes. As many of you will know, it was Premier Davis who first established Ontario's college system 50 years ago. We named this new fund in his honor as a fitting tribute to his bold and innovative leadership in creating the Ontario college system. I encourage you to visit our 50th anniversary website, amazing50.ca, to learn more about the Innovation Fund itself and also the full range of activities that will be taking place throughout the course of the year. This afternoon, however, I'd like to reflect on the remarkable growth and the expansion of college education in this province, and then I'd like to turn our attention to the future and the role that colleges will play in ensuring that Ontario has a highly qualified and highly skilled workforce that will be essential in the new technological age. But before we transport ourselves into the future, let me spend a few minutes taking stock of the achievements that got us to where we are today. It's often said, with full justification I believe, that college education is our competitive advantage. Ontario's robust college system allows people to pursue a full range of career-specific programs that aren't available to students in many of our competing jurisdictions. In fact, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development says access to college education has made Canada an international leader in post-secondary attainment rates. In Ontario, today's colleges offer more than 900 programs that cover a full range of careers in everything from business and healthcare to IT, advertising, industrial design, aviation, tourism, hospitality, and so much more. And as we say in our TV ads, we prepare graduates for some of today's most innovative fields. Our graduates are enjoying tremendous success in every field imaginable, including such cutting-edge areas as 3D manufacturing, biotechnology, and digital animation, Their successes have been recognized in not only Ontario and across Canada, but in fact globally. And just this last month, for example, Sheridan College graduate Alan Barillaro won the Academy Award for Best Animated Short for his film Piper. Unfortunately, there were no envelope snafus when his award was presented. Ontario's college graduates include bestsellers, authors, internationally acclaimed TV and film directors, and award-winning journalists and broadcasters. The president and CEO of Guelph General Hospital, in fact, is also a college graduate. And so is the business leader who oversaw the merger of Tim Hortons and Burger King. Over the past 50 years, more than 150 million people have graduated from Ontario's colleges. It's truly remarkable when you look back at how it all started. It's no exaggeration to say that our incredibly successful college system grew from rather humble beginnings. 50 years ago, there were only a few thousand students in Ontario's colleges at that time. William Hanley, who enjoyed a 45-year career in journalism, recently wrote in a National Post article about his experiences as a student at Centennial College. At that time, Centennial was operating out of a former radar assembly building that Ontario was leasing from the federal government. And even as classes started, Hanley said the building was still crawling with workmen who were scrambling to complete the renovations on time. He says that Centennial was a godsend from William Davis. He went on to include in his article, Davis and the planners in his ministry saw a need to help educate the province's hundreds of thousands of baby boomers in an economy rapidly changing. And our college system has evolved tremendously since then. Enrollment at Ontario's colleges today is higher than ever, with more than 230,000 students enrolled province-wide in our programs. These days, our programs cover everything, from in-class apprenticeship training and retraining of displaced workers to highly specialized degree programs and postgraduate programs for university and college graduates. We continue to pursue new partnerships, creating pathways between our institutions to create a broader range of opportunities for students. In fact, the number of university graduates enrolled in colleges has grown more than 40% over the past 5 years. Today's colleges have embraced technology-enabled learning and online learning, allowing more people to pursue higher education and training without having to leave the comfort of their own home communities. They spend less time in their classrooms because of the easier access they have to online learning. And they also spend less traveling time to reach our nearest campuses. And we're finding new ways to bring post-secondary education into the workplace. Last year, we announced a groundbreaking agreement with McDonald's Canada to help fast-track qualified managers into business programs that will further their education. It's that type of innovation and our ability to respond quickly to the changing dynamics of the workplace that ensures college graduates continue to enjoy rewarding careers. Now, as we look at what lies ahead, I can say that colleges will strive to be nimbler than ever to ensure that Ontario is prosperous in an age of accelerating automation and economic disruption. Michael Crichton once said, "The future is unknowable." And that is definitely true today, as we try to quickly adjust to what's being called the fourth industrial revolution. Much as societies in the previous revolutions were completely transformed by water and steam power, electricity and electronics, this digital revolution heralds a new age of transformation as well. Things that seemed like the stuff of science fiction only a few years ago, like self-driving cars and computers that are capable of cognitive thinking, have become the new reality. The big difference, however, between today's revolution and the previous ones is the rapid rate of transformation. This new revolution is transforming the world at a pace that greatly exceeds anything that we've seen before. For some, the advances in artificial intelligence and open source software and the projections of robots throughout the workforce are all incredibly exciting. And creative leaders who capitalize on all of this potential will be rewarded with tremendous and lucrative success. However, others are legitimately and rightly worried about the brave new world that we're about to step into. They don't know what the jobs of the future will look like, what jobs will still exist, and what types of jobs will they be. As many of you may know, Colleges Ontario hosts an annual conference in November. It's called the Higher Education Summit. And that conference features prominent speakers from throughout the world addressing key issues of the day. Last year, our featured speaker was political economist Robert Reich, the former U.S. Secretary of Labor. And in his speech, Reich addressed the very real concerns about jobs of the future. Reich is confident that many of the jobs being lost to automation, everything from service station attendants to fleets of airline workers, will be replaced by new jobs. But he worries about the quality of the new jobs, and whether they will pay enough to sustain America and Canada's middle class. Over the long term, the challenge is pay, it's not jobs. He wrote this in his 2010 book entitled Aftershock. He also wrote, eventually jobs will return, but if the trend continues, more people will be working for pay they consider inadequate, or inequality will have even widened. Author and New York Times columnist Thomas Friedman. He's also been a previous speaker at our Higher Education Summit. He raises similar concerns in his latest book, Thank You for Being Late. As he points out, careers that traditionally allowed people to earn high wages with a medium-level set of skills are disappearing in this new age of accelerating technology. The high-wage, middle-skill job has gone the way of Kodak film, Friedman says. In the age of accelerations, there is increasingly no such animal in the zoo anymore, he concludes. This is all creating anxiety that is playing itself out throughout the world. The United Kingdom's Brexit vote last June was in many ways a response to the changing economy. And of course, we all saw what happened in last year's US election, in particular in the Rust Belt states that have suffered so terribly from the loss of high-paying jobs. And Canada is not immune to the growing anxiety about the future. It's estimated more than 40% of the Canadian labor force is at high risk of being affected by automation within the next 10 to 20 years. The research shows less educated employees are particularly vulnerable. The impact on our communities is all too real. Growing numbers of people who have lost their jobs are struggling to find meaningful employment today. Those of you who were here when Premier Kathleen Wynne spoke to the Canadian Club last December might remember the points that she made about Ontario's displaced workers. The Premier said, an economic recovery that is not broadly shared is not sustainable. So how do we ensure that we have an economic recovery that is sustainable? How do we ensure that Ontario will prosper again and that people will be able to pursue rewarding careers? Well, there are many ideas to consider. Reich and Friedman and many other leading thinkers have been clear on one point. Higher education is an essential part of the solution. People who are starting careers or changing careers must have strong qualifications that combine technical skills with strong people skills. In this new age of accelerating automation, employees must provide added value that enhances the task that will be performed by robots and technology. I like the way Friedman describes it in his book. He refers to the highest paying jobs of the future as STEMpathy jobs. STEMpathy. Jobs that combine strong science and technology skills with the ability to empathize with another human being. There will be opportunities for people to achieve real success in the fourth industrial revolution. What we have to do is to ensure that more people have the right qualifications and the professional and technical expertise to make a meaningful difference so they may participate in the next wave of prosperity. And in the years ahead, that will apply pretty much to every sector of our workforce, from manufacturing and agriculture to business, healthcare, social work, and education. New work has already started to shift education in Ontario to meet the challenges of tomorrow. For example, the provincial government is exploring new ideas to ensure that all university and college students get access to meaningful work experience, experiential learning by another name. I believe the emphasis on career outcomes will become even stronger in the years ahead as the workplace of tomorrow becomes more technically and intellectually challenging. Career-specific programs and courses will become a more dominant part of our overall approach to education, including higher education. That will inevitably lead to a much greater emphasis on college education, including a greater emphasis on college programs that are more closely synchronized with other parts of the post-secondary system, from university programs right through to apprenticeship training. The emphasis on college education will be especially important as we strive to become more inclusive, to deliver higher education to people who are largely marginalized, such as Indigenous peoples and people with disabilities. College education will be transformed to ensure Ontario stays ahead of the changes in our society. Let me describe for you some of the ways that I believe college education will evolve in the years ahead. One significant change will be greater flexibility in the way that students select courses and programs to fit their individual needs. Access, as we know it today, will be redefined. Traditionally, colleges and universities have offered standardized programs that are designed by the institutions. Certainly, students have the option to select different courses within a program, but overall, the program requirements are set by the college or the university. That whole approach to higher learning is likely to change. In the automated and digital world of the future, where employers are looking for more specialized skills, students will likely have much greater flexibility to create their own post-secondary programs. Drawing from a wealth of options available locally and internationally through online sources, they'll be able to make selections that are as unique to them as their shopping choices on Amazon. The changes will have a profound effect on the way the courses are taught and evaluated. Yet there is a real opportunity to engage students on a whole new level. Today's students are captivated by new technology and are embracing new innovations in learning. Ontario's colleges are ideally suited to lead in this area. We respond quickly to new innovations and technological advancements. And as I mentioned earlier about our agreement with McDonald's, we are absolutely open to new approaches that provide enhanced opportunities to students. To give you just one example, at my own college, we use virtual reality technology in our mining program to teach mining safety. Students can experience real-world demonstration of best-in-class safety procedures in a mine without ever leaving the classroom. Another priority in years ahead will be ensuring that more Indigenous people successfully complete college education. We all know that there's much to be done by all of us to respond in a meaningful way to the recommendations of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. One of the most important areas identified is indeed in the area of education. And part of that response is taking new steps to ensure that everyone has a better understanding of Canada's history and the history of our Indigenous peoples. At the same time, we must do a better job providing education, including post-secondary education, to our Indigenous population. Ontario's colleges have made tremendous progress reaching out to our Indigenous learners. We provide many programs and supports, from mentorship and spiritual awareness to community outreach programs, all to help Indigenous learners make the transition successfully to college. This is particularly important for people who come to our campuses from reserves and must adapt to a new environment and a way of life that must seem completely alien to them. I'm proud to tell you that most Indigenous learners who have completed post-secondary education are in fact graduates of college and apprenticeship programs. But while we're proud of our success, we also know there's a tremendous amount more that we must do. Ontario's colleges are responding. Work has already started on new strategies and approaches to encourage more Indigenous people to enroll in college and to help them successfully complete their college education. This is a priority of Ontario's colleges, and you can expect to hear more about our strategies that we've been developing as we move forward. Finally, one other priority I'd like to address is Canada's efforts to tackle climate change. Ontario's colleges have a strong and long-lasting commitment to the protection of our planet. In a wide range of areas, from the development of new curriculum and programs to our energy reduction measures and cutting-edge new research, colleges are leaders in promoting sustainability and environmental stewardship. In fact, today, Over 20,000 students are enrolled in more than 300 programs that prepare graduates for sectors that are directly affecting emissions reductions, conservation, and renewable energy. We've been leading the way in Ontario, and we will have an even greater role to play in the years ahead. As Ontario moves to a net zero environment, where the amount of energy we consume is offset by the amount of renewable energy produced, the demand for a green workforce will become even greater. Much of the work to be done, from the complete retrofitting of existing buildings to innovative designs of new buildings and the expansion of renewable energy, it'll all require a new generation of innovators and leaders with expertise in low-carbon technology and construction. Ontario's colleges will be dominant producers in this workforce. A vast range of new programs, from diploma and degree programs at the undergraduate level to new postgraduate programs, will all ensure that Ontario creates a workforce that is highly skilled in building retrofits, operations, and energy management. We are committed to working with the government and all of you to setting and meeting meaningful targets for emissions reductions. We can and we will produce a healthier, sustainable planet. Now, let me conclude by saying that the evolution of college education must also include a strong commitment to the long-term viability of our college system. This is particularly true in small communities such as the City of Timmins, where Northern's main campus is located, but is equally true in Sarnia and Belleville and all the medium and small-sized college campus communities throughout Ontario. Colleges are at the heart of vibrant communities. Most of our student population comes from the local community, and we bear a primary responsibility for ensuring that the workforce is aligned with the changing needs of our local economy and our community services and supports. Maintaining high-quality, relevant programs for the digital age can be challenging, particularly as we experience declining enrollments in many of our small and northern communities. As some of you may have read in papers recently, a report by PricewaterhouseCoopers has raised serious concerns about the long-term viability of our system under the current funding model. For years, many of our operating costs have gone unfunded. If that funding model continues in the years ahead, our college system will face a cumulative shortfall of more than $1.9 billion by 2025. Billion dollars. The shortfall puts many of our programs at risk at exactly the time that Ontario needs to strengthen and enhance college education. We've been meeting with provincial officials to drive this point home, to jointly find solutions to our fiscal challenge. I'm pleased to say that earlier this week, the Government of Ontario announced a $50 million one-time capital grants program to Ontario colleges. This will only serve to strengthen the quality of our post-secondary programs that we provide to our students. But it's critical that college education remains available throughout the province to produce more highly qualified workforce that will be critical to our economic success and to helping more people find meaningful, well-paying careers. As the government prepares its spring budget, I am optimistic that we'll start to find long-term solutions. I'm also hopeful about the long-term prospects for our province as well. You know, the future may very well be unknowable, but colleges working in partnership with government and with business and community leaders such as yourselves, well, we're experts at finding solutions, innovative solutions, to the changes and the demands of our economy. And I urge you to continue working with us. We need to expand the range of workplace training opportunities for our students. We're always eager to develop new partnerships on applied research projects that help businesses find solutions that make them more effective, more prosperous, more competitive. It's been said many times that our people are our greatest resource. But that's not just a catchy phrase. It's a fundamental truth that I believe in. Ensuring that people have the expertise and the knowledge to pursue rewarding careers is fundamental to a healthy economy and to our entire way of life. We must all work more closely than ever to ensure that every person from every walk of life has the opportunity to engage in and participate in growing the economy of Ontario, and that each person is fully equipped to enjoy rewarding and lasting success. Ontario's colleges have long been the instruments of social and economic development in our communities, and it is a role that we look forward to continuing to play as we rethink college education in the fourth industrial revolution. I thank you.
Don't go too far away, please, but we have some great questions here, so thank you all. Question number one, what can we do to help Northern Ontario grow and develop through college accessibility?
So there's a certain amount of bias obviously contained in this particular response. I've said it to some of the leaders in this room, in fact, that I think the new economy, as it relates to resource industry, is definitely in Northern Ontario, and in fact, further north than the traditional limits of Northern Ontario that we've looked at. So there's great opportunities, but at the same time, we've got this demographic challenge, and it's exacerbated to some degree by outmigration, but naturally, with fewer babies being born, there are fewer people through elementary and high schools. We see that in the rate of school closures. And now that demographic impact is upon our colleges. And I think the small colleges in Ontario, not just Northern Ontario, are being most greatly affected. So we have this dichotomy where I believe very strongly that there are going to be many more jobs than we currently have and enjoy in Northern Ontario, but not the people to fill those jobs. The challenge, I think, in this room is to encourage the influencers in the lives of young people, whether they're your parents or grandparents influencing decisions, guidance counselors influencing decisions, to encourage students to think about Northern Ontario. Think about Northern Ontario as their source for post-secondary education. I can assure you they will acquire the same quality education. They'll acquire a very different experience and outlook on life for having lived in Northern Ontario, but they'll also be accessing where I think the next generation of economic prosperity lies for this province as well.
Okay, thank you. I think this next question must be from the Deputy Minister of Education. You're not smiling, Sheldon. If there was one thing you wanted from the Ontario government that... but that's not the funny part. The funny part is that didn't involve money, and the didn't is underlined. What would it be?
So money's off the table, really? Hypothetically. Okay. So I think the greatest single thing the province of Ontario can provide to northern institutions, colleges and universities like Northern Ontario communities is having a voice. Having a voice to what's being said by Northern Ontarians, where we're expressing what our desires and aspirations for the future are, and allowing that to influence and shape policy at Queen's Park in the absence of money.
Thank you. I apologize. I know we're not going to get to all of your questions. I've got two here which have a very similar theme, and they are, with all the discussion about the changes in the job market that future graduates will face, what are the skills that students need to thrive in the new world? And the similar question is, we hear a lot about a shortage of skilled labor. How do you ensure that you're agile enough to meet the demands of the marketplace?
That's a multi-part question, isn't it? So I think, first of all, I'm going to respond to some remarks that I've heard from industry. They've indicated that colleges, and not just my college, but colleges generally produce great graduates with wonderful skill sets, and literally they hit the ground running. What they've identified is a gap in their preparedness, and that gap revolves around interpersonal skills, job readiness, job preparedness kinds of skills. So I think our technical skills are getting students jobs, but the absence of strong interpersonal skills, critical thinking skills to be able to work in teams and that type of thing, that may be impairing their ability to progress, develop their career within industry. It's certainly what we're beginning to hear from industry players themselves. Our challenge now as institutions is how do we bring back, because they used to be present, how do we bring back the opportunity to provide students with that type of training as well? The general skill sets for the future are undoubtedly going to revolve around high level of technology skills. Whether people are working in engineering, trades, or technology itself, technology is pervasive. I don't think there is any industry, any business that is immune to the need for knowledge and technology workers today. That will only increase in the future, my view.
Okay, and the last question, and I like this question because there's a lot of talk about this. How is the college system dealing with contingent/part-time workers?
Well, I don't have any shame in admitting to the fact that we use contingent workers, to borrow the expression. They're important people to use in our institutions for the following reason, and this is not intended as malice to full-time faculty. Our full-time faculty came from industry in many cases a number of years ago, and they've not gone back to industry, excuse me, to renew their skills. So sometimes the ability to bring in contingent workers brings in current thinking from the shop floor, from industry, from business. It's current thinking. And that's a wonderful integration of the two, the experience as well as what's really happening in the workplace today. Were we able to wave a magic wand and convert all contingent workers to full-time? There's an economic challenge to doing that, but I think there's also the practical advantage that would be lost that I just shared with the group.
Okay, thank you. I'd now like to invite Canadian Club Director Drew Fagan to formally thank Fred and close the meeting. And my apologies for not getting to everybody's question.
Thank you, Fred. I guess Fred Gibbons. Thank you to both Freds. Fred 1, for purposes of today. Thank you on behalf of the Canadian Club for outlining in such a comprehensive way the imperative to build our approach to educating adults, young and old. For 50 years, as you noted, Ontario's colleges have played a pivotal role in training and educating the province's workforce. As you so ably pointed out, the post-secondary education works to be ahead of the curve in identifying and responding to the needs of the people it educates and trains. Your leadership and expertise couldn't have come at a better time for Ontario's 24 colleges. The details you shared resonate in big and important ways across the province. The college system helps fuel prosperity. When our students succeed, we all benefit. Fred, please accept our heartfelt best wishes for continued success in your presidential role and in your chairmanship of Colleges Ontario. Now, before we conclude, let me extend another round of thanks to today's event sponsors, Colleges Ontario and Skills Ontario. We'd also like to thank MediaEvents.ca, Canada's online event space, and VVO, which is live streaming today's lunch event. And to learn more about Canadian Club events in the future, please visit us at canadianclub.org. Thank you for being with us today, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a good afternoon.